Welcome back, guys. As promised, I'm going to bring book reviews on this channel as well. And the very first one is going to be my personal favorite. That is Stephen R. Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This is one of my favorites. Reason is it's quite effective, and when I look at the values and the constructive contribution to a personality, the lessons in this book make quite a lot of sense to me. And today I'm going to share with you what are those basic fundamental factors that help me to understand the foundations of the lessons we have here and connect with the values that I believe are important as a professional and personally in your life as well. So let's dive into the book and let's see what kind of lessons Stephen R. Covey have for us. There are some powerful lessons in this book for us. Stephen R. Covey published it a few years ago, and I rest assure you that it contains very powerful lessons. Um, there are some observations like if everything is important, then nothing is important. And time spent doing one thing means that time taken away from another one. I mean, work expand to fit the time. So at the end of this session, you will realize where I'm connecting all this with the habits here. But more importantly, why you should pay attention to this. Number one, your demanding workload, stress at home, stress at work, stress in your learning place, which is leading actually to burnout, and need to learn how to work smarter, not harder. So, Covey describes these 7 habits of highly effective people, providing the building blocks of a powerful model for personal change. Plan, organize, execute around priorities, gaining control of your lives. I'll basically connect it with Aristotle, where he said that we are what we repeatedly do. That's habit. Excellence then is not an act but a habit. So that's how it works. And similarly, a habit is an interaction of knowledge, skill, and desire. That's what Mr. Covey says. So those 7 habits, number one is being proactive. Number two, begin with end in your mind. Number three, put first things first. Number four, think win-win. Number five, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Number six, synergize. And number seven is sharpen your saw. I have my personal favorites as well in this. For example, number two, number three, and especially number seven. These are my personal favorites. So, moving on to the habits themselves, as you can see, each one of the habit can be categorized. I generally categorize the first three into managing yourself. Four, five, and six is leading others. And the last one is unleashing potential. And that's one of the topics that I've been working on for a long time in terms of unleashing your own potential while you're working at an organization and your team as well, how you can unleash that potential for your team. So this is one of the key areas that I believe at a certain point of time you need to focus on as well. But first and foremost, you need to manage yourself with habit one, two, and three, then manage others or lead others with four, five, and six. And at the very last one, you will see unleashing the potential. So we will go through all of them today in this book review. I'll take one by one all of the habits and give my part of explanation and what I understood from this book. I will strongly recommend all of you to go down to your bookstores and get a copy of this book and read through. It's really a gem. Um, let's move on to our first category or first skill or first habit. I will say that being proactive. It's very important. You are creator. You're in charge. More than just taking initiatives, taking responsibility of our work, of our lives. Behavior is a function of our decisions, not our surroundings. We are controlled, not being controlled. So we are in charge, we are in control, but we are not being controlled. So how do you react? How you react to your situations? Do you let people push your buttons? So it's always better to be proactive, take your actions, drive what initiatives you have in your head instead of being driven by initiatives people have in their head. The more you are driving, the more you're proactive, the more you're in charge of your situation. So that's the first and foremost part, that is proactiveness. Um, so being reactive, how does it look like? There is nothing I can do. For example, he or she makes me so mad. I have to do that, and I cannot do that. Oh, I must do that, and things are getting worse. This is the reactive part. Whereas the proactive part is, let's look at our alternatives. What other options do we have? So there is always an option. Yeah? We all have options. I control my feelings. So I'm the in charge of my feelings, which are actually driving my behaviors. I will choose proper response. Good. That is how I must do, being proactive. I choose. I prefer. And what alternative initiative can we use? Which options can we use at a certain point? So you can see the difference between being reactive and being proactive on the other hand. The second one is begin with the end in mind. That is not just a personal, I will say, a trait, but it's a habit of very, very successful leaders. And that's where it connects with the vision. So you know where this activity, this task, this particular project is going to lead you. Very important to start anything in your life, to start anything at your work, where you must have an end in your mind. And trust me on this, if you have ends in your heads, it makes a lot easier to run through a project, to run through a task. So everything that we do is examined within the context of the whole. You know, first we must know our destination, where we are heading to. For example, if you're planning on the next month a visit to Vienna, you must consider really the goal. What is the destination? What do I want to achieve? Second is we must formulate a plan to take us there. Otherwise, others will do that to shape your agenda. Plan is a form of personal mission statement. I'll say consider our various role. So that is how it works. In the same example as I stated, if you want to go to Vienna, for example, you need to plan properly. So you need to buy air tickets, you need to buy the taxi coupons, you need to make sure that you are booking a hotel over there, or a place where you're going to stay, etc., etc. So these are the plans that you need to do. But first, you need to have the end in your mind, what exactly you want to achieve from that particular exercise. I will give you another example. For example, this this planning thing in your work as well. When you're planning to do something, if you know what is the end in this whole story, then you will know what you're supposed to do. So the tasks that you are going to do at your work will make more sense to you, because then you know what is eventually the end in your head. So that is going to be very important, very, very important. Um, then let's move on to the third part. That's putting first things first. So you need to develop a very serious priority system in your life. And I've seen it in many people, personally and professionally as well, that they don't know how to put first things first. And if you don't have that, you're going to, you have a very, very limited time. If you will not set up your priorities, if you will not focus on the right things at the right time, by all means, you're not going to end up and finish in the limited amount of time that you have received. So you have a certain amount of time to finish your tasks, and you cannot finish them if you don't have right priority for yourself. So develop a priority system for yourself. Saying yes to something means saying no to something else. So if you're saying yes to this one, maybe you're saying alternatively, in other words, no to another one, because you have a limited time. You cannot do both at the same time. Um, and it's different from time management, let me tell you. To-do lists which focus on things and times, it's just different from that. Setting up your priority is important. I will go more on the personal management. So manage ourselves, focusing on relationships and results. So I will to explain this, I will bring ourselves into this time management grid that was developed also by Stephen R. Covey. So very useful tool, which defines urgent, important, not important, and areas where you can make a grid between importance and urgency. So these are two, I will say, axes, urgency axis and important axis. Number four is the think win-win. In my experience, win-lose only works in sports. Otherwise, you all need to consider each other's interests and figure out a win-win strategy for yourself when you're thinking of your tasks, of your relationships, of your working environment. It's always best to go up, deeply understand the situation, deeply understand the individuals as well, and then figure out a win-win strategy, win-win situation for everyone. Number five one is listening with intent to understand. We often, and I've seen it many times, that people listen with the intent not to understand, but to counter argue, to prepare for the next sentence, to prepare for the answer. But I think if you ask me to choose between listening and speaking, I will practice listening twice as much as speaking. And most of us, as I see it, focus on the speaking skills, which is definitely important. But in my opinion, it's more important to listen. While you're communicating, because it's two ways, you must consider that somebody is telling something, explaining something, and we should understand that first before we speak out, or before we answer, or without any, negative or positive thoughts. First, listen to understand. Try to understand what that person is saying and explaining to you. That helps a lot. So, listening for the purpose of understanding, that's very important, and it's a very good point. Um, the next one, number six, is synergize. Synergy occurs when the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. Again, I'm repeating it. Synergy occurs when the whole is greater than the sum of the small parts. Creative process which unleashes the best in the people. That's how we'll see. Through our individual paradigms, we each see the world differently. So this creates a learning opportunity whereby differences are considered as an asset, not as a liability. So synergies are also very important when it comes to success in your life. You have to work together. Take your unit of family, take the unit of your work. I mean, all go together. Teams win, teams succeed. Number seven is sharpen yourself. Preventive maintenance and self renewal, basically. Effectiveness lies in the delicate balance between production and production capability. So I'll go more on the renewal part. When we look at uh, renewal itself, there are many in personal life. For example, physical, exercise, stress management, good nutrition, etc. Social, emotional, empathy, synergy, security, and service to others. Spiritual value clarification, existence clarification, and commitment, and study and meditation. And mental part, that is more of a reading, visualizing, planning, and writing. So these are the four dimensions of renewal when it comes to readiness of yourself. And also it is connected with personal mission statement. So your personal management or achievement of personal management is relevant with definition of your own mission statement. So at the heart of personal mission statement, what you will say, what you want to be, what you want to do, and what you want to have. Simple as that. It's simple. Considering your role yourself, you're a student, you're a friend, you're a son or a daughter, you're a professional. Add structure and balance to the to be, to do, and to have parts. Consider interaction. This is very important, and review and modify your personal statement very regularly. That's how I'll suggest. But it doesn't end here. Define success for yourself. This is very important. It isn't always easy to distinguish between the aspect of a job that are truly necessary and those that are not. Don't forget, our many roles, both personally and professionally, and the importance of making time for both. Achievement and goals. So define several key goals associated with each role of yours. Should I be running quadrant two activities? Should be broken into short terms and long terms, let's say the goals. Prioritize and allow time for these activities using a weekly planner, planning horizon by considering the role and importance, not just the urgency of those. Progress is reviewed daily, and adjustment must be made. Performance is measured by effectiveness, not efficiency. Facilitated by this overall structure of this book. This is my understanding. A few recommendation. Uh, Put things into perspective. Will it matter in 5 years from now, for example? Recognize when something is not enough. Ask for help when it's needed. It's very important. And don't lose your sense of humor in between this. This is my recommendation that I see it in the book. And if I have to conclude it, Stephen's model can lead us to personal development. The process is a continued journey, not a destination. So helps to put us in control of our lives by empowering us in the priorities, schedule of our priorities rather than just prioritizing our schedule. So that was a quick round from my side. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I look forward to speak to you again. Till then, stay safe and take care of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're a first-time user. Looking forward to speak to you again. Till then, ta-da.